This news update is brought to you by...
Got kids? Then you need video on demand from Flow, with hours of entertaining shows and movies for boys and girls of all ages. There's always something to watch. Simply press the VOD button on your Flow remote. This is how we do TV. This is how we Flow.
This is the Barbados Today afternoon news for Wednesday, February 24th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. Class 4 students of Lawrence T. Gay Memorial School began classes this morning at the Breath of Life Seventh-day Adventist Church as investigations continue into environmental issues at their school. Parents have been demanding that health authorities explain what is the cause of those problems that are disrupting their children's education. They raised their concerns at a meeting yesterday where they were notified by education officials that classes had been relocated. But they said they felt disrespected that representatives from the Environmental Protection Department were not present to answer their queries.
Now to realize that this is a widespread problem, and I think that our children should be all tested together so that we can find out what is the effect to their overall health together. Because if I take my child to the doctor for a sore throat, people can keep asking me if I've taken her to the doctor. If I take my child to the doctor for a sore throat and nobody understands that she's coming out of an environment where other people are affected, the doctor's going to tell me give the child some pain medication and put her to bed. But if you know that it is an overall problem that's happening at the school, then I feel that they should handle it like that. As a group of children, so that they can then treat the symptoms or at least find out what it is that they can tell us, the parents. We are none wiser for coming to this meeting this evening.
Health officials are reporting that at least 4% of homes examined by inspectors are breeding grounds for mosquitoes. The Principal Environmental Health Officer, Ronald Chapman, says as of last week, nearly 5,000 homes had been inspected in the north and south under the mosquito eradication campaign, which began on February 15.
So far, within that process, outside of the odd, the miscellaneous ones, we have found the barrels, the white 5-gallon buckets, and the tires are most prolific breeders.
What about the overgrown lots?
Well, the overgrown lots are we will always have the overgrown lots. However, mosquitoes breed in water. And yeah, there has been some illegal dumping, and we're presently working on that. There's a part of the program calls for the bushing program, and that is slated to start on the 4th of April. We wanted to start it much sooner. However, there's a number of logistical. We appreciate there are a number of logistical hurdles we have to cross, and because of that, we're anticipating that on 4th of April we will be beginning the bushing program.
And with over 200 suspected cases of the Zika virus on the island, Chapman revealed that his department is in the process of establishing a fish rearing plant at the Graham Hall Swamp to eradicate mosquitoes.
Now what we're looking at doing is providing fish for the average householder who may have a tank, have a tank, or maybe have an area that they have large pools of water close to their homes, that we can use that to prevent. And it's a very good biological way, and the fish will stay there for a long period of time.
Developer Mark Maloney is sending a clear message to squatters that there is no room for them at the villages at Coverley. Maloney was responding to a comment by MP for St. Michael East, Trevor Prescott. Prescott said earlier that if squatters in the Bell St. Michael are to be moved, they should be relocated to homes at the Christchurch development. But Maloney, who is the CEO of Housing Concepts, dismissed the idea when asked by reporters about business at the villages.
Sales are going great. I would like to take you guys for a tour of our gym. We just opened our gym. We're opening our supermarket. You can see construction going on as you leave our recreation facility. We're opening our own new supermarket brand, Fresh Market. That will be open in May. Sales are actually going good against some of what is being said in the media. There will be no squatters coming up here, but those comments we can't control those comments. But Coverley is doing well. Our sales are between 7 to 15 homes a month, depending on the month. And as we open up more facilities here and deliver our promise on delivering a community that has all of the various amenities, shopping and restaurants and so on, and we will just continue to be successful.
In sports, title holders Fusion's Boutique Junior are among the teams through to the knockout round of the Barbados Cricket Supplies Under-13 competition. In the quarterfinals on March 6th, they will travel to Bayfield, St. Philip, to meet Corporators General Insurance St. Catherine Juniors, last year's losing finalists. Police Junior clash with unbeaten Franklin Stevenson Academy at Bennett's. Counterpoint Wanderers host Royal Bank of Canada St. Philip Juniors at Dyrrell's, and Isolation Cavaliers Juniors entertain Carlton Juniors at KMV Oval. The semi-finals are slated for March 13 and the grand finals will be on Sunday, March 20th. West Indies bowling consultant Sir Curtly Ambrose says he's confident that the Caribbean side can win the ICC World T20 tournament set to bowl off next month in India. But he says the senior players must deliver on their performances. West Indies are scheduled to play Zimbabwe and Warwickshire in warm-up matches ahead of the tournament, which begins on March 8th.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
This big weekend, bring all your family and all your friends. Don't be foolish, you got the plan, cause I'm bringing Dolly, Doocy and Dan. Don't be pusillanimous, you got to go and get your tickets at all the bus offices. AgriFest 2016, a bereft amount of entertainment, a humongous amount of agricultural projects. AgriFest for you, AgriFest for me. AgriFest.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, political pundits in Jamaica believe the battle for government will go down to the wire between the ruling People's National Party and the opposition Jamaica Labour Party. Voters go to the polls tomorrow, and the PNP, led by Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, is facing a strong challenge from the opposition Jamaica Labour Party. The former Turks and Caicos Islands Premier Michael Missick has announced plans to run for office again, even as he is before the courts on corruption charges. The announcement came ahead of the ruling party's convention this weekend. Missick and other former government ministers and their associates are facing charges of conspiracy to accept bribes in public office, conspiracy to defraud, and associated money laundering. Earlier this month, a judge dismissed the application for a mistrial made by Missick's lawyer, who argued that the prosecution issued daily press releases which scandalized its client, depriving him of the right to a fair trial. And finally, U.S. President Barack Obama has announced plans to close Guantanamo Bay before he leaves office in less than a year. But Republicans say they will block the move to shut down the U.S. prison for suspected Islamic extremists. We have more in this report from the BBC.
It was one of the first acts of his presidency.
There we go.
An executive order to close the Guantanamo detention centre within a year. But 7 years on, and the president is still making the case.
With this plan, we have the opportunity finally to eliminate a terrorist propaganda tool, strengthen relationships with allies and partners, enhance our national security, and most importantly, uphold the values that define us as Americans. I'm absolutely committed to closing the detention facility at Guantanamo.
91 detainees remain at Guantanamo Bay, down from a high of more than 800. Another 35 are due to be handed over to other countries soon. But there are a few dozen the US does not have the evidence to try and who the administration believes are too dangerous to release. It's that group that President Obama wants to imprison inside the United States. But Congress has banned Guantanamo prisoners from being moved to the US mainland. and Republican lawmakers are determined it stays that way.
And that's the news. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for the latest news and sports. I am Mark Williams. Good afternoon.